Welcome to Viral Recaps. Today I'm going to explain a thriller and horror movie called 247 Degrees Fahrenheit from 2011. Spoilers incoming. Let's get right into it. The movie opens with a couple talking about their wedding. Jenna tells her husband Jamie how much she loves him, but then suddenly he loses control and crashes, resulting in him dying on the spot. The scene then switches to 3 years later with Jenna and her best friend, Renee. Ever since the accident, she tries to help Jenna forget about it and to start living her life normally again. Renee arranged for them a great weekend with her boyfriend, Michael, and a friend of his, Ian. She tries to hook her up with him as she thinks that'll help her live through what happened. The four friends plan on spending the weekend in a cabin next to the lake. The locals there throw a big party every year to celebrate May Day. Once they cross the lake using a boat, they meet here with Wade, Ian's uncle, as well as his dog, Bo. Wade usually rents out the cabin to tourists, but this year he decided to let them have fun there. He welcomes them warmly with some shots, and he also surprises them with 4 tickets to the party. Once they get settled, Renee and Michael go to their room for some giggity-giggity, while Jenna and Ian prepare dinner together. Once they're ready, everyone gathers at the table and Wade joins them as well. They chit-chat for a while and Jenna gets to know more about Ian. After dinner, Jenna goes outside to play with Bo and Renee follows her outside to ask her if she's feeling comfortable and having fun. Jenna looks very unsure about her answer, but says she's feeling great nevertheless. Wade then takes Bo and heads over to prepare the fireworks as he's one of the party organizers. Once the girls go back inside the cabin, Michael says there's a sauna and they should go inside to relax before going to the party. Ian and Renee agree, but Jenna looks a bit hesitant about it. Nevertheless, Renee convinces her it's a great idea, so she heads over to her bedroom to get ready. Michael enters the sauna first, shortly followed by Ian. They chill and drink beer while waiting for the girls. A few moments later Renee comes as well, followed by Jenna, who enters last. Everyone seems to enjoy being in the sauna, except for her. Fortunately, they don't last too long in here as it's too hot, so they decide to jump into the lake and cool down. Once they come back to the cabin, the girls enter the sauna once again to warm up while the boys are getting some shots and more beers. Michael is clearly very drunk, but he keeps drinking more anyways. The boys then join the girls, and after a while, they jump into the lake once again to cool down. Then, they decide to enter the sauna for the third and last time before going to the party. Michael seems to be completely wasted at this point, which clearly begins to annoy his girlfriend. This results in an argument between them, so Renee enters inside without him. They ask her what's wrong, and she says that Michael has changed a lot in the past year and that she's sick of babysitting him all the time when he gets wasted. While they're talking, we hear banging coming from the outside. Apparently, Michael's too drunk to walk in a straight line and he bumps into everything. Renee then gets further annoyed and decides she just wants to go to her bedroom and be on her own. Unfortunately though, the door won't open. Everyone begins to panic almost immediately and they think that Michael probably did that as some kind of a bad joke. They scream his name telling him it's not fun, but receive no answer. Ian then tries to calm the girls down and says that if it's all a joke, Michael will get bored very soon and he'll let them out, so they take a seat and wait for a while. After a few minutes have passed, Jenna remembers that Wade gave Michael a joint. Now everyone feels even more terrified knowing how wasted Michael could be already. They fear that if he locked them here as a joke, he might forget to let them out. Ian then says that if they find out why the door won't open, they can figure out how to open it. He heads over to the door to take a look and sees that something big is right in front of the door, blocking its way. They decide to break the window to get some fresh air if nobody lets them out soon. While waiting, they talk about what will happen to them if they stay inside for too long. Ian says that they'll most likely suffer heat stroke, causing them to get dizzy, vomit, pass out, and eventually die. Jenna then spots something behind the thermometer and Ian takes a look at it. It turns out to be the thermostat, but the controls are on the outside. Renee suggests they cut the wire, but Ian says it might cause the heater to run full blast. Renee is already very annoyed and can't stand this anymore, so she tries to break the window with the water bucket. Ian probably realized at this point that no one was coming to let them out, so he tries to take out one of the extremely hot rocks out of the heater. He burns his hand in the process, but eventually he manages to take one out. Then, he puts some water into the bucket and drops the rock inside of it. Ian wants to let it cool down for a while and use it to break the tiny window on the door, but Renee starts crying that she can't take the heat anymore, so he grabs the rock before it's fully cooled. This causes his hand to get severely burned, but he manages to break the window. They all feel relieved to take a breath of fresh air, and the girls start yelling Michael's name, hoping that he'll hear them. Unfortunately though, the following few scenes reveal that the house is empty. It's also shown what's blocking the door, which is a wooden ladder. Coming back inside, Ian tells the girls to enjoy the moment of relief as it'll be temporary. He says that since they broke the window, the heater will now run even hotter as it'll be trying to get back to the original temperature that was set, which is 185 degrees. Then, Ian comes up with an idea once again and he ties the rock to one of the towels. He tries to reach the ladder and move it out of the way, but unfortunately, he couldn't. Upon seeing this, Renee comes back with the idea of breaking the thermostat as she thinks this will cause the heater to turn off. Ian warns her once again what the consequences could be. The heater can reach up to 250 degrees Fahrenheit, which basically means that their skin will begin to melt. Although warned twice, Renee still insists that they break the thermostat, which results in an argument between her and Jenna. Renee insults her quite badly, saying that she has a life to come back to, unlike Jenna. Ian can't be bothered participating, and he comes up with yet another idea to save their butts. He thinks that if he shorts out the light and blows the fuse, it might cause the power to go down, which means the heater will turn off. He wraps the wet towel around the wooden spoon's handle and sticks it inside, causing him to get brutally shocked. Ian falls to the ground and suffers a seizure. A few moments later, he's back to his normal state. Unfortunately though, the heater's still working. A few moments later, while the girls are arguing again, Ian hears Bo barking close to the house. They all start to scream desperately his name, and although the dog senses they're in trouble, there's nothing he can do about it. In the meantime, we finally see Michael. He's outside enjoying the fireworks. After they're over, Wade packs his things and heads home. He spots Michael outside of his cabin and asks him what he's doing there. He replies that he got really wasted and after smoking the joint he passed out on the couch. When Wade asks where the others are, Michael says that once he woke up, he searched around the house for them, but didn't find them. Michael thinks they went to the party and ditched him sleeping on the couch. He tried to get to the party, but the security didn't let him in without a ticket. Wade then offers Michael to hang around with him in his house, and he accepts. Coming back to the sauna, Renee is now completely out of her mind, insulting and screaming at her friends. She decides to break the thermostat and Jenna tries to stop her once again. Renee then starts to insult Jenna even worse, but once she calls her pathetic and mentions the car accident, Jenna finally had enough and hits her in the head with the rock, causing her to pass out. Ian was almost passed out from the heat as well and didn't see what happened, so he asks Jenna. She says that she hit Renee because he said that if she breaks the thermostat, they will die. Ian replies that he never said he was certain of the consequences and that he only warned what could potentially happen. This enrages Jenna, and after yelling at him it's all his fault, she stands up and breaks the thermostat. In just a few seconds, Ian's theory turns out to be true and the heater starts to run on full blast. This causes him to completely lose his mind and he starts laughing like a psycho. Even worse, he shakes and kicks the heater, not even giving a fuck it's melting his skin. Ian screams in pain while trying to destroy it, and Jenna screams in horror at the door. Eventually, he manages to dislocate the gas pipe, causing the heater to finally stop. But then, just a few seconds after, the heater blows up and kills Ian on the spot. Although the heat won't be a concern anymore, the dislocated pipe gasses the sauna and the girls are unable to breathe. Renee finally regains consciousness and Jenna tries to drag her up to the window to help her breathe, but she can't get her up on her feet. Jenna then hangs one of the towels to the ceiling and leaves Renee hanging right in front of the window. Fortunately, Jenna manages to find the gas pipe and sticks the broken spoon inside of it and ends their suffering. We're then taken to the kitchen where Michael smokes yet another joint and passes out once again. He dreams about what happened while everyone was inside. Michael was wasted enough to create a huge mess right in front of the door. As smart as he is, he left the ladder leaning on the door, which trapped them inside. On the next morning, Wade comes to check on them, and once he comes down to the sauna, he sees Renee's lifeless body hanging on the towel. In the final scene of the movie, Michael's crying and Wade's giving an explanation to the police while Renee and Jenna are being rushed to the hospital. Hey, if you enjoyed this recap, please consider subscribing and leaving a like as it helps the channel a lot. Thanks for watching and take care.